Okay. I call to order the business meeting of the Beaverton School Board on August 29th, 2023 at 7:04. In attendance today, I want to note that all 7 board members are present. Bienvenidos. Welcome, everybody. At this part, we usually do our land acknowledgement, and I wanted to let you know that the Beaverton School Board would like to acknowledge that our school sits on the land of the Tualatin Kalapuya people, and we recognize we are not the first teachers and learners of this land, and that there is still Native presence here today, including the 9 Oregon tribes. Land acknowledgements continue to evolve, and we'll continue to consult with our tribal partners as we consider how to honor original stewardship of this land. So you'll see that evolving during our meetings as well. Right now, we'll move into our agenda review. And board members, if anyone wants to propose making a change to the agenda or pull an item out of the consent agenda, this will be the time to do so.
Chair Perez, I would like to pull the Pence construction contract from the consent agenda, please.
Okay. Are there any other changes, proposed changes to the agenda, to consent agenda today? Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and pull the Pence construction contract, just that piece from the consent agenda, and we'll do that during the items for action. We aren't pulling any of the other contracts during this time. Knowing we have a new board, I also wanted to take a minute to explain the different items on the agenda. So there's items for information, and those are reports and presentations for the board to receive information, not leading to a board action. We also have items for action, and those are topics that the board is expected to vote on tonight. That's where we'll put the Pence construction discussion. Items for future action are things that the board will get information about and discuss tonight before taking a board action with a vote at a future meeting, usually the next one. And then the consent agenda, it's really a slate of items for actions that are voted on as a group rather than one by one. And these are things that the board votes for approval, but are not expected to need any deeper discussion, as they are routine business or have already been discussed. So the board votes to approve the consent agenda as a package with no real discussion on the items in the consent agenda. And if a board member does want to discuss or ask questions about one of the items in the consent agenda, they can ask to remove it from the consent agenda. And then the board will vote on the rest of the items as a group and then discuss the vote on the pulled item at a later then or a little bit later in the agenda. And that's not really done very often, but it's always an option. And if a board member wants to pull an item from the consent agenda, it's really helpful to say that, as you did now, during the review, rather than waiting until it's an item to vote on during the consent agenda. And also a heads up before the meeting is also appreciated. With that, I think we're ready to move on to our next item. And I'm going to hand over to Dr. Valderas for, let me see. I have one more piece I was going to say before I hand it over. During our virtual meeting on July 15th, the board administered the oath of office to each of our 3 new board members. And that was done on Zoom. So we let them know that, them and the community know that we would repeat this oath of office at our first meeting, so that's in person, and so that their families and friends could actually be present. So I will now hand off to Dr. Valderas to re-administer that oath of office for them.
Thank you. We're going to start with Dr. Melissa Potter. You join me up front here, and I'll bring my mic. And then we're going to do profile right here so people can see. Okay, thank you. You just repeat after me. Repeat your name when it says, I,
Melissa Potter.
we need 2. Do the dual. Do solemnly swear to affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions
of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District
to the best of my ability for the term July 1, 2023 through July 30th, 2027,
to the best of my ability for the term July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2027,
for my position.
in position number 3.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Justice?
Much more familiar with Mike like this.
Thank you. Thank you. I state your name.
I, Justice Raji,
Do solemnly swear to affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions
of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District
to the best of my ability for the term July 1, 2023 through July 30th, 2027 for my position.
to the best of my ability for the term July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2027, in position number 6.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And next up is Tammy Carpenter, and Representative Farah Chashi is going to be doing the installation. So I'm going to have Tammy, here you go, ma'am. Here you go. And here is this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I state your name.
I, Tammy Carpenter,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the laws and constitutions of the United States of America and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Directors of the Beaverton School District
to the best of my ability for the term July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027 in my position number.
to the best of my ability for the term July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027 in position number 7.
I know their families are here. Do you want to take a quick picture with their families? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if families could come up, and then we'll get our picture, maybe here in, Justice, you could go first. Come up. It takes a lot of family support, so thank you to the families, too. Did you, everyone? Oh, all of us? Or do you want individual families? Como sea. One of each. Take one with the family, and then one with family or friends, and then. from experience, we know it takes the whole family, everybody. So thank you to family and friends that came in to support. And again, welcome to our new board members. I'm looking forward to us working together over the next couple years. So we'll now move on to the next agenda item, which is the recognitions. We have two today. The first one tonight is the district recognizes Kara Young for the CCI Communications Coordinator for her outstanding contribution to the Beaverton School District and the community. Kara, can you please come up forward to the tables up here? Clothes for Kids is a district-run volunteer-supported effort that supplies free, gently used clothing and shoes to BSC families in need. Last year, C4K volunteers served families during 4,000 visits to the portable located on the west side of the district auxiliary facility on the Southwest Merlot Road campus. Thanks to the 2022 bond funds, Clothes for Kids was relocated to a much larger portable on the opposite side of the property this summer. This difficult and time-consuming relocation was orchestrated and supervised by Kara, and it involved moving, reorganizing, and labeling more than 50,000 items, and developing a new system to better serve our clients and their families, I guess. Kara went above and beyond in these efforts, working weekends throughout the summer to ensure that the Clothes for Kids was ready to open on time for back-to-school shopping. Her efforts combined with our maintenance team and other CCI team members have resulted in a space that is more welcoming and more functional for both families and volunteers. Kara, well done. Thank you so much. And would you like to share any words?
Sure. This is a really rewarding project, and I think the payoff came earlier this month when our families actually got to see the spaces, and they were just very happy. But I would say that the heart of the program are the volunteers, the lead volunteers, who some of them spend thousands of hours a year making sure the program runs, and we couldn't do it without them. Right now we have a mountain, literally a mountain of donations to get through, and so anybody who wants to come and volunteer and help out, we're having a little Saturday sorting event on September 9th, and you can sign up on our website, and we are hoping to make a dent in the mountain because we have a lot of items to get out to kids. I think that the first week we served about 160 students, and it varies between 150, 175, and they each get about 22 items apiece. So in 1 week we can distribute 5,000 items. So yes, we have a mountain of supplies or donations to get through, and we'd love anybody to help us, and please come and check out the new space. It's really lovely.
Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to sign up to be a volunteer, do they have to fill out that form, or can they just come volunteer there?
For this specific event, they don't have to be in our volunteer system, but if they want to become a regular volunteer, they would have to go through our volunteer system.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And if you want to come up, we have take a picture with us. So now, next, we would like to recognize the business office team who have been awarded the yeah, I was like, wrong paper. Mike, Jessica, and Jason, can you please come forward? And then you can start reading while they're coming up.
Let them come on. We would like to recognize Mike, Jessica, Jason, and the business office for the Meritorious Budget Award and Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Association of School Business Officials International once again has recognized the Beaverton School District for Excellence in Budget Presentation and Meritorious Budget Award for fiscal year 2023-2024, and the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the fiscal year 21 to 2022. BSD submitted our budget documents and the annual comprehensive financial report to a panel of school financial professionals who review the documents for compliance and financial transparency. We want to recognize the outstanding work of Associate Superintendent Mike Schofield, Budget Manager Jessica Jones, Financial Manager Jason Gutro, and the entire business office. Congratulations.
Would you like to say a word or two?
I just want to, I'm here as eye candy tonight. These two did all the heavy lifting. Jessica on the budget side, Jason on the finance side, and their teams do outstanding work and make us all look good, so thank you to them.
If you could come up for a picture, please.
Yeah.
I think I need a mic lapel mic so I can be walking and talking. Keep us moving. We'll now move to our next agenda item, which is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair Perez and board members and community. Welcome back to 2023-2024 school year. It's been a great, exciting start to the school year. We're on day two. We're on day two of school. There are 39,000 kids coming on campuses, and just want to let you know that we've been visiting schools, and I personally visited about 10 schools, was able to distribute school supplies for Dr. Cordy here at Five Oaks this morning and T-shirts, and just phenomenal watching the kids and the faces and the parents dropping off their kindergarten kids in terms of school, their new shoes and coming in, and it's really a powerful experience when school starts. Also was able to visit William Walker with Congresswoman Bonamici and Board Chair Perez here on Monday. Getting a strong start across the whole school system. There's always glitches at the beginning of school. So I want to let the community know and the board know there's always some level of glitches, but those get, again, slowly smoothed out throughout the week. So the first week, and this is the first week we started before Labor Day. It's the first week. So we're starting a week earlier, and the weather's been great. So first of all, we're worried about the weather. Weather's been great in terms of the heat index as compared to the past few weeks. So very thankful for that, but a great start. I really want to thank the staff members that have made it all possible. We've had tremendous amount of staff working this summer on all sides of the house, but also teachers that got started early. A lot of professional developments happened, and it really takes a whole village to really make it happen, and we're really fortunate to have just an incredibly dedicated group of staff members, no matter if it's whatever your classification, if you're a bus driver, nutrition worker, teacher, administrator, we're all in this together. And I think that's the power of BSD, is we'll work together to make it happen, and we did, and it's worked out well. So look forward to seeing board members at events. I know there's a lot of activities happening across the system, from football games to volleyball to cross country, and look forward to those activities. And we do have passes. I think we're going to try and get passes for you as well, so you can enter our our stadiums in terms of watching our kids participate and shine. But also want to thank our new board here, as this is our first business meeting together. This is our first business meeting together. Look forward to the work ahead as we implement our strategic plan. I know staff you'll be hearing more about this as we begin the school year, but focusing on implementing on what's best for our kids. And also really want to thank our board leadership, Dr. Perez and Cindy Nagar, for stepping up into those roles. I know that it's added work, but thank you, and I look really forward to working together to do what's best for all our kids across all 54 campuses. And again, we're hopefully seeing a little uptick in enrollment. Don't know the final numbers yet until the 10-day kind of. We always cross our fingers because that 10-day count when people are dropping and adding. So in education, there's this thing called the 10-day count that we always worry about. So the first few days of school in terms of where everything starts to wash out. So we'll get the board some more information in terms of where we're at. But right now, the most important thing is kids are happy, kids are in school, and kids are learning. So just want to thank everybody for their commitment to our kids. Thank you, Chair Perez.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. The next item on our agenda is public comments, and we'll start with our comments from our employee group. So OSEA and BA, please come on up. Christy Sackman, we'll have you go first, and then Lindsay Ray. Okay. So Lindsay, you got this.
Hello, good evening, Superintendent Balderas, Board Chair Perez, and members of the BSD School Board. For the record, my name is Lindsay Ray. I'm a high school math teacher currently serving as the president of the Beaverton Education Association. Hey, it's the most wonderful time of year. I know that I'm excited as staff and students are coming back into buildings. I don't know that we'll ever truly be back to normal, but I do know that there are countless opportunities that this year will bring. I want to echo the words of Dr. Balderas in his welcome back message yesterday. Our schools are not merely buildings. They are communities where each student, family, and staff member is an essential part of our BSD tapestry. Within our walls, we celebrate diverse backgrounds, cultures, and abilities. We demand inclusivity, and we foster an atmosphere of respect and understanding. Here, everyone is seen, heard, and supported. I'm so thankful for that sentiment coming from our superintendent, and I'm hopeful that we can all strive to support one another, especially in these tumultuous times. I'm looking forward to a collaborative and productive relationship with district leadership, including the school board, and I'm excited to connect with each and every one of you. I know your role as school board directors is not easy, and I'm hopeful that we can work together to make sure that Beaverton remains, in my humble opinion, the best school district in the state of Oregon. One of the things I want to bring to your attention today is the impact of our changing climate. We continue to see record high temperatures every year, although not this week, thank goodness. Our air quality regularly suffers because of wildfire smoke, and it feels like snowstorms aren't just once every several years anymore. With that said, I hope that special attention is being given to the HVAC systems in all of our schools to make sure that our students and staff are safe and comfortable each and every day. I also want to remind everyone that we are bargaining this year, which I know is simultaneously exciting and exhausting. I'm hoping that we can work together throughout that process to come to agreements that ensure Beaverton has the schools that our students deserve. And finally, I'd like to say to all of our staff, thank you for your continued commitment to our students and to making our district and this community a place to learn, to be seen, and to thrive. To our students, welcome back to your school communities. We are so excited you're here. And to our community, thank you for your continued support. We are able to serve our students authentically because of your trust in us. Let's have a great year.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next, we have Christy Sackman and a guest.
Good evening, Chair Perez, Superintendent Balderas, and members of the board. I want to say hello and welcome to Melissa, Justice, and Tammy. We're so excited to have you on our board, and we're excited to see the growth in our community with you guys joining our team. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kirsty Sackman. Are you thirsty? I'm Kirsty. I'm a para too in our district and also the local OSCA classified union president-elect. I'm happy to be sitting in front of you as we are on day 2 of our school year. It's so good, like Dr. Balderas said, seeing all the kids in their new shoes, the fresh haircuts, the smiles on their face, even the anxious look on their face, but they're so excited to be back at school. I have a new role in our district, and it has been amazing so far, 2 days to see 2 different buildings of kids just excited. And we have so many more days to come as the kindies start joining the buildings in elementary, and in a few weeks our pre-K start joining. It's just so exciting to see all the kids. I also would like to introduce my guest. This is Teresa. She is our new OSCA field rep. She is taking over, for many of you know, Justin, and she has jumped gracefully in the middle of summer and is joining our team, and she's just been so great at just diving right in and joining us. And we as OSCA want to thank everyone from our BSD management team for all the ways that they have truly invited her in and made personal connections or time to sit down for a lunch or a meeting and really get to know Teresa as she joins our Beaverton team. And we're very, very excited to have her. My OSCA board wanted to leave a simple message of gratitude out to everyone. They said, "We are very grateful for the positive partnership and support in which the true winners are the students and our families that we serve and support, and we thank BSD management for the continued access to conversation and growth." I would like to add this message by saying that I genuinely appreciate that with OSCA, since we last bargained the last contract, we have made leaps and bounds with our BSD management. We've had a lot of new staff at our DAO, in our buildings, everywhere, but we continue to gain access to conversations, and that is a big, big deal to us as OSCA and classified staff. I mean, I'm very biased, but admin and teachers are wonderful. But the glue that seals everyone together, in my opinion, is classified because they cover all the other points to make us a team, make us a world. And the continued invitation into meeting spaces to share our ideas, our opinions, and our understandings, and being genuinely heard and continuously invited to more and more tables is something that we on our OSCA board very much appreciate and value. Having a voice at the table is a big deal. It's why I choose to be a union leader in my voluntold time. And so we very much appreciate the team lunches that we've had this new school year, the meetings with our BSD and BEA management, having us all come together collectively, especially in the idea of just socializing, getting to know each other as people, humans first, and then we can all work together so much better when it comes to the hard things. In a perfect world, I'd love to just have meetings about all the fun, exciting things we're doing. But in reality, being a part of the union is balancing those tough situations and making it right for our employees, because the better our employees are treated, the happier and better treated our students and families are treated. And we all know that's why we're all in education. So we truly appreciate it and hope to foster more growth in those situations. I want to say personally, in a very biased role, but also from my side as a president, very thankful for BSD for truly hearing some of the advocacy that we have done. We have grown in many MOUs, additions to our contract for things that work in certain departments. We love that this is the first year that we had every single classified staff, no matter your position, you were given a paid day during in-service to meet in your school, meet in your team, meet with your community, and learn and grow together. And having that first day, I've heard leaps and bounds about how much it's helped everyone across the board really feel included and feel like they have the time to prepare staff to be prepared for students. And we really, really appreciate the ability to be able to do that. And I also would like to add that I am very excited that the district has partnered with us to create the new special ed Pair 2 Rover position. And I am obviously biased and excited that I am the first staff to take on that position. But being able to have fully trained special education staff on a team that can get sent out, similar to the certified deployables, already in day 2 has been amazing. I'm very excited to be in this position and knowing that we're going to grow our team. And it's always, being in the school, it's great. And subs do their very best with what they are given. But having the idea of being a para for the last 8 years in our district, knowing that there's going to be another adult that can come in that is trained, that has the skills, it's just such a comfort. And for me, being the one coming in and being able to guide and not add stress to the workday has been really nice. So we really appreciate as our district grows with us in this role. It's to us in OSCA with BSD shows the true commitment to just navigating the chaos that is running a school district. And it shows the solidarity that you respect the roles of classified staff. That's something that we continue to see time and time again in the last few years, is the true authenticity of respect of our voice and our positions and what we're doing. And it's something that I continue to hear from our classified staff that we feel, especially coming out of pandemic where a lot of our classified didn't feel welcomed or heard. We really feel the value of the effort made from our district, and we really want to acknowledge that we appreciate it. One last thank you I have is tomorrow we are going to one of our elementary schools, and in OSCA we have a parent union, AFT. They're coming to do a big visit at one of our schools, and we just very much appreciate all the work of everyone at district level who's made this happen. It was something that happened very quickly, but we are going into school tomorrow to highlight back to school fun and all the hard work of classified staff, as well as give out books to kids, which is my very favorite thing to do, is give out books that kids can keep and continuously learning and being excited about coming to school, and knowing that our classified staff get to help engage kids in that way to be lifelong friends and educators is really important, and we really appreciate the hard work that's taken in the week notice that we gave everyone. We as classified are very much looking forward to this new school year. Our OSCA board has lots of ideas and goals, but we know that with the partnership that we have grown, that we will continue to all grow together, and we are very excited. Thank you.
Thank you. It's now time to hear comments from our community. As a reminder, this is a time when the public can comment to the board, and the board will actively listen, but we will not be responding or answering any questions. We appreciate each of you being here today. The board welcomes public comments virtually or in person from up to 10 people who sign up before the meeting. And when more than 10 people request to speak, priority is given to students, district residents, speakers who have not already provided public comment during recent meetings, and in a variety of topics. Comments can also be submitted in writing. We have received 5 requests to provide public comments today. So the 5 speakers for tonight will be Claire Renaud, Brian Gardner, Jennifer Harvey, Connie Clemens, and Edward, I can't quite read it, was that right? Prindle. Okay, Prindle. Only the people I named will be allowed to speak. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to share your thoughts. Your time cannot be shared or given to any other person. And we have a timer up here on the screen. When your 2 minutes are up, you must stop speaking and make way for the next person to share their thoughts. If you continue to speak, then the microphone will be turned off. The school board doesn't hear complaints or charges against any individuals, and this means that we will end your testimony if you name staff member, board members, or committee members by name in your testimony. So personal matters and complaints should be resolved by communicating directly with the employee, their supervisor, or through the district complaint process found on our website. We ask everyone in attendance to model respectful behavior, and remember that we have students as well as staff and committee members here in person and watching online. Our first speaker today will be Claire. Please come up to the front table and take a seat in front of one of those microphones. And when I let you know, we'll compress that button there, and the microphone will turn on when it's green. And that's that little light at the base of the microphone. Our second speaker will be Brian Gardner, and we'll call you up, so be ready to come up as I call you up. So maybe Brian Gardner, if you want to come up and sit up here as well, so you'll be ready to go after Claire. So go ahead, Claire, we'll give you your 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Claire Rodell and I am a French teacher at Westview High School. I'm coming to you this evening to share my concerns regarding equity and funding for French classrooms in our district. In 1996, I was in the 10th grade, Bill Clinton was president, and the world had fewer than 6 billion people. That is also the copyright date of the textbooks I currently work with. I think we can all agree that the world is a very different place today, and our students deserve a curriculum that helps them to become citizens of the modern world and not last century. As part of the district's strategic plan, the World Language Department began its official textbook adoption process for world languages 2 years ago. In alignment with adoption procedures, a cadre was formed, Vista and Wayside publishers were chosen to pilot, and a team of teachers piloted the curricula last school year. This February, the cadre recommended the adoption of the Vista curriculum to the school board, and the board approved access to online and offline resources for Spanish and French teachers and students. It was so exciting to think that we had gone through this rigorous process and we're finally going to be able to hit the ground running with up-to-date resources that could help me teach, assess, and provide meaningful feedback in ways that were unimaginable with the previous curriculum. So imagine my surprise when I was told 2 workdays before school starts that Spanish teachers and students were fully funded, but French teachers weren't. Spanish teachers and students have both online and offline materials. French students, however, do not have online access to the approved curriculum, nor do they have physical textbooks or workbooks. After spending the entire last year piloting Vista materials for French 1 through 4, I am starting with nothing but online access for myself. I have also discovered that our TOSAs weren't informed of the lack of money until June, which left them scrambling for money scraps over the summer. Why did it take 3 months to inform department leaders that they did not have the money they needed to deliver on the promise of a new curriculum to teachers? Instead of implementing a plan I'd worked on all summer, I am now spending an extra 1 to 2 hours a day making hundreds of copies of materials for my piloted materials, recreating activities in Canvas and Formative that mirror the activities that already exist in the curriculum's online platform. Not only is this inequitable, this is demoralizing. Our district motto this year is Belong, Believe. Our district motto this year is Belong, Believe, Achieve, but this sends a message that the district does not think French belongs, that the district doesn't believe in supporting all currently taught world languages, and that achieving in languages other than Spanish isn't important. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe I'll have Brian, you come up, and I'll wait. When you finish, we'll have the next person come up. So you can go ahead and turn your microphone on, and then Jennifer, you'll be after Brian when they finish. So you can go ahead and start, Brian. Go ahead.
Is somebody else coming up?
No, we'll just have them wait till you finish, and then.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to I felt like it's kind of uncomfortable if somebody's sharing, so I'll wait till everybody has their space.
It's okay. I got it. Sorry for the misunderstanding.
Hi, I'm Brian Gardner, and I ran for school board briefly last year.
I'm going to have you touch the microphone so it turns green. There you go. Now you can go ahead.
Oh, It was green when, okay, it was green when never mind.
You're good.
I turned it red. Can we restart
Can
the
we
timer?
start the clock for them again, please?
I'm so sorry. Thank
No,
you.
you're good.
Okay. Do I need, okay. Hi, I'm Brian Gartner. I ran for school board briefly last year. You know me from Washington County Democrat. Things quickly. One, actual nutrition facts aren't available online, which is its own issue. This is regarding school lunches. What is available is carbs and fiber counts. Carbs in a main lunch item are 30 to 60 grams. That's just the main item. While American Heart Association recommends 10 grams a day for elementary school kids. We need to be giving our kids more healthy food and providing our parents with more robust nutritional information. Kids aren't prepared to make healthy choices in the lunch line at school surrounded by their peers, and parents can't bring students back from 3 to 6 times the recommended carbs. Fat and other information aren't available even. So we need to make that information available and ideally make it so the food choices for kids are better, more healthy, and less full of carbs and other things that new dietary guidelines are deprioritizing, which probably includes funding school lunches more. Number 2, Sexton Mountain, colloquially SME, and possibly other schools dropped below a threshold. I don't know exactly what that threshold was, but they lost a couple too many students, and they lost their vice principal. It shouldn't be an all or nothing situation. This very diverse student body with many second language learners and many students with different abilities and backgrounds needs more administrative support than just a principal. They have great results, and I'm concerned about what happens with a decrease in administrative staff. I urge the board to find a non-zero-sum solution, such as sharing a vice principal between 2 schools or having a person who works half-time as a VP and half-time in some other role. I imagine that this problem exists in more than just Sexton Mountain. Sexton Mountain's what I'm aware of, and I was very disheartened to find that the vice principal role has been taken away. Thank you so much.
Now we'll have Jennifer come up, and the microphone's already on for Jennifer, and then Connie Clemens will come after.
Thank you.
And you can just go ahead and start.
Okay, great. Hey, how are we feeling tonight? Are we feeling good? Unfortunately, this is how institutional racism feels. Not old white men hiding, secretly plotting. It's indifference, self-justification, deflection of responsibility, the prioritization of property over people. So next time you piously talk about diversity or racial awareness, every time you talk about belonging, each of you should have a voice in your head reminding you, I fenced in a Japanese-American family who experienced internment. You don't get to blame your project managers or the people who approved it before you or say that you don't get involved at this level of detail. You are supposed to set policy and have integrity. By doing nothing, you decided that Japanese is white adjacent, that Japanese-American history is not worth acknowledging or honoring. Maybe it's ignorance. During World War II, the United States government forcibly relocated and incarcerated more than 125,000 people of Japanese descent in 72 makeshift concentration camps. Russell Okamoto's father was 6 years old when he was imprisoned for being Japanese. He survived, got an education, worked hard, and bought a home for his family in Oak Hills, and he never fenced his yard. You are doing that, not with an attractive good neighbor fence, with a prison fence. You are now complicit because you would not take 3 minutes to ask your henchman to find a way to alleviate the impact to this family, or 10 minutes to look at a plot plan to see that moving the fence just to the other side of a path would reduce the visual and emotional pressure on their yard. In 1990, on a train in Munich, I watched a tiny elderly lady defend a young black man against a couple of aggressive skinheads. I froze. Afterward, I said, "Thank you, that was brave." She said to me, "We must never be silent again. One person matters. History matters." Thank you.
Connie Clemens, and then Edward, you would be next. I'm going to have you press the button so it turns green. There,
Thank
it's
you.
great. Thank you, Connie.
Just a little background information for the rest of you. I ran for school board this last election, and I wanted to be here tonight to thank the people who chose to run and represent our community in a very important position. The schools matter to me. The kids matter to me. And I'm confident you can say the same thing. So I'm here tonight to beg you to please honor your promise that schools matter and kids matter. I have a little story that's the sideline. I am concerned about the social science curriculum. You'll see me again. I think it's very divisive and very much in error. And there are lots of people in this community who feel the same. I've spoken to Dr. Balderas about it. I lost the race, but there were also 8,000 people who voted for little Connie Clemens standing on a corner with a sign that had my name on it. I didn't have mailers, I didn't have robocalls, none of that. But there's people out there who are very concerned, and I want you to know that. And I'll be back to talk about that. But tonight I have a little story I want to tell you about. One of the things that came up when I was campaigning was books. And if you're aware of national news, you know that there are books being in the schools that parents are very concerned about. So I called Sunset, where my grandson goes, is this book in our school? And they said, this is not a part of my job description. You need to call somebody else if you want to know that answer. I called Aloha High School, and they said, it's none of your business what books are in our library. That's the response. So I hope that we can get the staff and the board and the parents all on the same page, and we're working together as a team. I pray that happens.
Edward, we'll have you go next. And the button's on so you can start.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Balderas. My name is Edward Prindle, and I've been the French teacher at Southridge High School for the last 8, going on 9 years. This is my 16th year in the district. I came tonight to speak on behalf of French teachers in the Beaverton School District who have been let down and frankly demoralized by the lack of support for new materials promised to them during this latest textbook adoption cycle. 2 years ago, I joined the World Language Department cadre and project team with teachers and community members from throughout the district. Our goal was to find new materials that reflect the global community in which students live today and that facilitate the use of newer teaching methods that will result in better student outcomes. Teachers attended many after-school meetings, read the latest research, deliberated conscientiously, and piloted 2 different textbooks. The result was a unanimous vote to adopt the Vista Higher Learning Curriculum for French and Spanish. Last spring, we made that recommendation to the board and it was approved. At that time, we were not given a budget, but we were told to ask for what we needed and wanted. We left for the summer in the anticipation, even excitement, that we would have new materials this fall. Unfortunately, as Claire Renaud mentioned, just 2 days before the beginning of the school year, we learned that we would not have those materials and that there was not even funding for them. We learned that the district was seeking funding through grants and asked if maybe we had any ideas. It didn't sound very promising. To add insult to injury, we also learned that the Spanish textbook requests were funded and that their students would even have access to the online resources that made Vista such an attractive option. Don't get me wrong, I want funding for Spanish, but it goes without saying that to favor one language over another in this way is an inequity that hurts both students and teachers of French, not only in terms of what can or cannot be done in the classroom, but also in terms of how we feel valued in the district. In sum, we implore you to make the right and equitable choice to allocate necessary funding for French textbooks right away. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comments. We've also received comments via online, and just wanted to let people know that we have received them, and the board has or will be reading them. Thank you for your comments. We'll now move on to the next item on the agenda, is a back-to-school update from Dr. Cordy and the Teaching and Learning team. And just for the board, we'll try out the Robert's rules for this part, which is a little different than our work session. So everybody will make sure that everybody gets time to ask questions and then go around for a second round.
Good evening, Chair Perez, Superintendent Balderas, board members. You have heard lots of excitement this evening from our OSEA and BEA partners about the start of school. And that is definitely a sentiment and feelings that we all here at this table share as well. And we are excited to give you just a brief update this evening about what the first 2 days have looked like here in the Beaverton School District, and a little bit about pre-service week as well. And I am joined this evening by some of my colleagues in the Teaching and Learning Department. These are our 5 school executive administrators. And so, especially for those of you new to the board, these, when you hear people refer to our execs, these are the team members who supervise our principals in our schools. And so we have 4 execs who are assigned to K-8 schools, and one of our execs is assigned to high school and options. And so we're really excited and honored to be here with you this evening. And as each of my colleagues shares, and we will just go down the row here, they will introduce themselves. And if they're new to the position, they'll share a little bit about the role that they came from. And if they're not new to the position, they'll share how long he's been in the role, and a little bit more about that. So without any further delay, I will hand off to Dr. Meigs.
Good evening. Nice to see you all this evening. My name is Patrick Meigs, and I am an executive administrator for preschool through 8th grade schools this year. And I also am working with the social, emotional, behavioral health, and wellness teams, which incorporates counselors, substance use specialists, social workers, the flight team, stat team, SERP team, that sort of thing. So it's exciting work to be engaging in this year. I have 8 elementary schools that I spend time in, and 3 middle schools. And this is my 6th year in the role, so I am not the new kid on the block anymore. I could have that for the last few years, but not anymore. So really happy to be here tonight. You know, I was thinking about what to share with you tonight, and I was at Beaver Acres this morning, and I was walking through the hallways, and I was there by a 1st grade classroom, and this little girl, right after school started, basically walked backwards. If she could have moonwalked, she would have, but she walked backwards across the hall, singing all the way into the bathroom on the other side that she'd lost her tooth. And it was just this moment of a kid being so excited to be back at school and just feeling very comfortable in their environment, and it was only day 2. And having been at all of my schools over the last 2 days, I saw that time and time again of kids coming back into schools with huge smiles on their faces, adults who are waiting at doors, greeting kids often by name, and if they didn't know their name, they were leaning down and asking them. And it was just really remarkable. And related to that was all these parents who were sitting there and sending them off, and they give us their greatest gift every day, and they were doing so with such joy and excitement on their face. And part of that joy and excitement was that they were putting their kids back in the trust of us as their leaders and their teachers and their school communities. And it was just beautiful, beautiful to watch and witness. I have the honor I have 4 of my schools have brand new principals this year at Bonnie Slope and William Walker, Tara Linda, and Tumwater. And new principals who, right from the very beginning, have engaged deeply with their communities, reaching out to staff, meeting them, getting to know them, parents and kids. They spent their week last week building community in their school, helping think about how do we launch a school strategic plan in their schools, build school improvement plans, and they've just hit the ground running. We're very, very lucky to have these 4 new leaders amongst us. And I would say that during pre-service week, we did work with social workers, substance use specialists, and counselors as well to get the year started. So it's been a really powerful, thoughtful start to the year. And I'll pass it on to Todd Corsetti. Or not. Oh, yeah.
Can you walk the board through what a flight team is and what STAT and the acronyms that we
Yeah,
use in education?
sorry about that, of course. So flight team is when there is, unfortunately at their times, there's tragedies that happen in our schools, whether that be a student death or the loss of a staff member. At that point, there is a team of people who come into the school, counselors, social workers and others there to support the school community, whether that's creating spaces for kids to process what has happened, creating space for staff to process what's happened, to cover classrooms, to provide food, to provide comfort, support, and whatever is needed. And so that can last from one day to over the course of a period of time as a school community needs. And that flight team is taken care of by counselors, social workers, and others from other schools who come to the school in need and support. And it's really quite, while those are never something you want to have happen or be a part of, when it does happen, it is remarkable how we just wrap around each other and take care of each other. STAT is a process around when there's a student threat assessment done in a school, when there's a child who's made a threat of some nature. There's different levels of that threat assessment that happen. When it comes to a level 2, then a team of people come together with community partners across Washington County, along with folks within the school district to help determine how do we help support not only the child in question, but also the school in question as well, to keep everyone safe. And then SERP is our sexual incident response protocol. So when there is an incident in the school that is related to a sexual incident of some manner, a team comes together to help support the school and all involved to ensure the safety and moving forward. Yeah.
Thank you. Another note before handing the mic over to Mr. Corsetti, one of the adjustments that we made in the teaching and learning department that was a result not only of budget reductions, but also restructuring and thinking about ultimately our service to our partners and in our schools. That is the most important work that happens in a district, and that is the work that happens in classrooms every day. And so knowing that the support that comes from teaching and learning is just paramount to that important work happening in our schools. As we restructured the department some this spring in anticipation of this school year, we created more crossover between our executive administrators who are before you this evening and our curriculum, instruction, and assessment work. And so prior to this year, there were very discrete roles that were responsible for elementary curriculum, instruction, and assessment, and secondary, another one with a focus on CTE. And that was done, it was very, very hard work, done well, but it was done very separate from the work of our executive administrators. And so in service to schools, as we were adjusting the format and the organization of the department, we added content areas to each one of these executive administrators. So you heard Dr. Meggs talk about overseeing the BH&W, or Behavioral Health and Wellness teams, and those other bodies of work that he just described. And so each one of our execs has an area, in addition to their principal supervision responsibilities and support of principals and their associate principals, is also working with our curriculum instruction and assessment colleagues to really make sure that we are working together in all the work that we do to help eliminate any silos that may have existed. And so that's what you'll be hearing also a little bit about from our executive administrators. And when you hear them talk about those specific content areas, that's because that's an expanded part of their work, and it's for very intentional reasons. So with that, Mr. Corsetti, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Todd Corsetti. I'm the Executive Administrator for High Schools and Options, and this is my first year in the position. I'm super excited about that. I started my career in the Beaverton School District at Whitford Middle School as a 7th grade English teacher, and have worked my way through the system, mostly spending my time at Southridge and Mountainside, where I had the privilege to be the principal for 6 years at Southridge, and then most recently at Mountainside. I get to work with a tremendous group of high school principals. Patrick talked about his new principals. Of the 12 principals that I work with, both comprehensive and options, 6 are new in the last 2 years, and 2 are brand new this year. So I'm going to be leaning on my experience to work with a fantastic group of educators as they learn the ropes of being high school principals in our district. In addition to that, I work in the health and PE department with Kristen Gustafson, as well as athletics and activities, and credit recovery and alternative ed. One of the things, and the schools have been able to visit all 12 schools in the first day and a half. If you've ever been able to watch the 9th grade Link Crew Assembly on the first day of school, it is one of the best things we do in our system. The ability to transition our 9th graders into a building with mentors at the senior level. The seniors love it. They love to be the mentors, in some cases with juniors. And the 9th graders walk in wide-eyed, scared, and by the end of the day, they're high-fiving each other. They've built a community that's strong, and they're leaving the day excited to come the next day. And so watching those assemblies that our activities directors lead, it's really inspiring, and it sets the schools off in just such a fantastic, positive way. In addition to that, some of the work that was done last week in in-service, one of the highlights was the equity modules that all staff participated in on Wednesday, led by Pat McCreary and Tatiana Savalos, that really, I think, galvanized our staff around making sure our students belong, believe, and achieve. And that work is ongoing over the course of the year. There'll be several modules they engage in over the course of this school year, and so we're excited to see the results of that. And lastly, Dr. Balderas said this, but it's exciting at the high schools right now. You've got volleyball games, cross-country meets, you've got water polo games, football games, pep assemblies, the band, the marching band competitions, choirs getting up and running, and our theater production. So if you get a chance, come out and support the high school kids as they extend the classroom from outside the classroom and onto the different playing fields and surfaces and arenas that they like to participate in. I really feel like this first 2 days is setting us up for a fantastic year. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. I'm Robin Kabrowski, and this is my first year as one of the 4 pre-K through 8 executive administrators. I have the pleasure of supporting 8 elementary schools and 2 middle schools. Previous to this position, I actually started my career similar to Todd. I started in the Beaverton School District 29 years ago as an English teacher at Sunset High School, and had the pleasure of being at Cedar Park Middle School, and then most recently at serving as the principal at Springville K-8 for the last 7 years. So I, in addition to supervising elementary schools and middle schools, I also oversee English language, the team for English language arts, and the TOSA team that will support that work going forward. I have had the opportunity the last couple of days, like others, to visit schools, and really what struck me most significantly was watching principals and staff really support a culture of belonging in our schools. And I saw some very visible examples of the teaching of protocols and routines to help welcome students, make them feel safe and included in our communities. The one that really struck me was one of our middle schools, similar to the 9th grade Link Crew Assembly. I watched a 6th grade welcome assembly at Highland Park Middle School, and it was only 6th grade, which I think is a really beautiful thing that we allow that opportunity for just 6th graders and 9th graders to start on that first day. they all came in together, and the principal and the staff led the students in learning the school chant, which I think was "We Are Huskies," and there was some clapping and some in the midst of that. And at the end of it, after they had taught the song, she asked each of the students to stand up, and she identified the different elementary schools that were in the group, as well as students who had come from other schools across the district, across the state, and even from other states across our country. And she recognized that we all have come from different experiences, but now we are one Husky family. And it really struck me in the importance of what she was creating in that moment of a true sense of belonging at Highland Park. So I loved watching that happen. On the language arts side, I would just highlight that we had, during pre-service week, the opportunity to bring together middle and high school teachers to have some conversations about teaching students to read who are struggling with that at the secondary level. And that's something that we are seeing more than ever after the pandemic. And so we're really looking forward to digging into more of that work. And it felt good to have a chance to work on that, or to start working on that in the context of our pre-service work this year. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
Good evening. My name is Bao Vang, and last 3 years I was the principal at Hazeldale Elementary. Prior to that, I was a teacher, instructional coach, and principal in Minnesota for about 20 years. And I decided to move here during COVID, but Beaverton has been an amazing place, and I already feel like I belong, and that I've been here for 29 years like everybody else here. But I just wanted to, when I think about the last 2 days, I support 9 elementary schools and 2 middle schools. And as I walk through the hallways, not as a principal, right, but as someone who's going in to support the principal, I just notice joy. I notice the joy in students' faces as they see their friends that they haven't seen all summer. I notice the joy in teachers' faces as they welcome back the students that were there before, and as they see their colleagues. And I also see the joy in parents' faces as they drop off their kids and trust them, right, with our staff, our teachers, our principals. And I also see the joy in the principals' faces, and as they have been working so hard to prepare for day one, the joy that they see I see in their faces when kids come in, when kids are laughing, kids are just glad to be there. And the other word I think of is excitement. I see the excitement as they're ready to learn. I was at Stoller yesterday, and there was like 100 and something sixth graders waiting to go get their lunch, but they were like standing behind an invisible wall. And I was getting ready to go there, and one of the staff's like, "Are you sure you want to go there?" They look like they're getting ready to attack. But they were really just so excited, and they were waiting to go to their next class. And as, they let them go, they came by, and I was a total stranger, but they all gave me fist bumps and high fives, so excited to just go to their next place. And I was excited to be there with them. When I go to elementary schools, all the kids are super excited to be in their classrooms, build community, and to learn from each other. And those 2 things were things that stuck out to me as I walk the hallways of our classrooms. When I think about mathematics, that is the content area that I support here in Beaverton. Last week, during pre-service week, we had over 200 teachers come to our PD, which was in person. We had talked about doing it in person just so that teachers could connect and teachers could see each other, ask questions, and collaborate. And we started the year by just talking about how to launch our math units with excitement and with each other in collaboration. I was there to just witness the wonderful PD that was led by our math TOSA, and I know teachers walked away with ideas on how to start the year with excitement. And we're super excited to just continue our work in math, just working on best practices. Thank you.
All right, last but not least, My name is Perla Rodriguez. I am the last of the pre-K 8 execs. I am tasked with serving 9 elementary schools and 2 middle schools. Prior to coming to Beaverton, I worked in a neighboring school district, Forest Grove, for about 25 years. About 20 miles away from here, I started as a teacher. I was in dual language. I did literacy, Spanish literacy, language development, and then had 2 principalships in Forest Grove. So everything is new to me this year, which is humbling, and it's keeping me on my toes. I'm glad, Dr. Perez, that you started by recognizing the board's family. My mom is a school board member in Ontario, and I know that it's not just the long meetings, it's the preparing for the meetings and thinking about things after. So thank you and welcome to the new board members as well. In addition to serving schools, I'm tasked with early learning and continuing that really, really powerful work in Beaverton. I love early learning. It's definitely one of my passions. Last week, I was able to sit in during professional development and watch the group of new early learning pre-K teachers. And I didn't realize that it was a group of the new pre-K teachers until I realized they were asking a lot of the same questions I had, just logistics. They're just so, there's something about early learning teachers. They're so intuitive about the whole child. It just comes naturally to them. You know, they look at everything through this lens of, what does the child need from me, instead of what do I expect from this child right now? It's just, there's nothing like early learning teachers. I can't wait for our pre-K students to start. As of 10:30, we were at about 83% of our pre-K slots are full, which is incredible because we still have another week and a half before pre-K, or 2 weeks before pre-K starts. So I'm sure we'll have all of our slots full before September 11th. I'm also looking forward to supporting the dual language expansion, which is another passion that I have. And I understand you got a report earlier today, and so I'm really excited to see how that work continues. And overall, I'm really kind of enjoying also being the new person, because I feel like I'm just going to use that this whole year. That I just got here. I'm not sure. You're going to want to ask Pat or Robin. But thank you so much for having us this evening, and here's to a really, really good year.
Gracias, thank you so much. Do we want to, anybody have a question or comment? So I see Tammy and Susan, and then Sunita.
Dr. Cordy and team, thank you very much. I am wondering how the Office of Equity interfaces with this leadership team to advance our equity goals. Do Tatiana and Pat meet regularly with all of you, and what does that look like?
Yes, thank you for the question. The Office of Equity and Inclusion is one of the teams within the Teaching and Learning Department. So they are an integral part of everything we do, which is truly what equity is all about. It's what does that look like on a day-to-day basis in the classroom and in our schools. And so Pat and Tatiana are a part of our leadership meetings and are very, very much in all of those conversations and all the work that we do.
Susan?
I just wanted to comment. First of all, welcome to those who are new to the school district. Welcome to two that are new to the BSD office, central office, and Patrick, it's good to see you again. I just felt the joy, and I just wanted to comment on the joy that you're feeling, because a year ago, and I have spoken to other teachers out there that I know, and I'm feeling a lot of encouragement and joy and excitement about being with our students and our district, all our students. And there's a lot of challenges out there, and I know that, but I appreciate feeling the excitement that it's contagious. And I just wanted to comment how much I appreciate all you do for our students in the district, what you do for our principals, what you do for our teachers, and I just wanted to acknowledge that, so thank you.
Is it Sunita?
Yeah. Thank you. You guys wear a lot of hats, so a lot of work you do. And this being second day, there isn't too many questions that come up. But there is one thing that comes up in my mind. There was one time a grandmother who had come here in our public comments, and she had said that her grandson took the bus and he didn't know where he was going, or she didn't know for 2 hours where he was. And when she called, she didn't get any response. And I had talked to Dr. Balderas about it, and he said that this is very common. It happens in the first month of it. So as executives who are supporting principals, because that would be a very scary thing for a parent or a grandparent, how do you train your principals to train their staff to make sure that they are sending the kids back home and they know which bus to go on, where to get off, and all that stuff? Do you guys do something about that?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Being a building principal for a long time, that was the worst feeling ever. And principals, and whenever that happens, it's all hands on deck in a school. And we, as executives, get called. We often go to the school to help as well. One thing that happens is kindergartners get name tags put on all their backpacks that have their name and their bus route number on them, and so that they're sort of checked as they get on the bus. Teachers go through, how are you getting home? There's home, school to home connection plans that are made between schools and parents. And so they do everything they can to make sure they know where every kid. Sometimes, though, a kid goes, oh, there's my friend, I'm going to get on that bus. And so what happens in those situations is because teachers know kids well, they know their friends well, they start calling their friends' parents. They start calling other people on the list to really hunt and search to find that child. And so there's a lot of precautions that are taken up front. And then if that were ever to happen, then phone calls are getting made, outreach is done in as many ways as possible.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. Because there are so many new principals, I think this would be a really good piece to do with them.
Thank you.
You guys are
Appreciate
already
that.
doing it. Thank you for that.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited you're here, and I actually appreciate the org chart changes to make those connections so that we're not in silos, that we're actually working together. And so that's, I think, a really amazing change. And just to have the expertise that's at this table is just like really exciting to have you all here. So thanks for all that work. Our next item is the consent agenda. So we will, can I have, one of the things we have done in the past here in Beaverton is that we have our most seasoned board member make the motions when it's something that's on the agenda. And then we'll have our vice chair second those motions that are actually on the agenda. But if there's other motions, then we can have other people help out. With this one, we've prepared for pulling out that piece that you asked, Tammy, from the consent agenda. So I will just, we'll follow that same procedure, and we're ready to go on that one. So do I hear, let me see where I'm at. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Or do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with, as submitted, with the exception of the contract or authorization item that was removed? Did I get this right? Oh.
Okay, so I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted with the exception of the contract authorization item that was removed.
And then do I hear a second?
I second it.
Do we have any discussion? Oh, no, we don't have discussion. We'll take a vote, because that's just a vote. All in favor of the consent agenda, please raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Okay. I see that that consent agenda has been approved unanimously. So now we'll move to the motion of, let's see.
I can.
You want to do the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve the public contract authorization for construction manager general contractor services for the Raleigh Hills Elementary School replacement GMP amendment.
And then we would move to a second on the motion.
I second that.
Any discussion? Tammy?
Chair Perez, thank you. For this construction contract and future ones, I'd like to have conversations around the school district and the construction firm entering into the regional workforce equity agreement. This agreement is regional in nature. Washington County, City of Beaverton, City of Portland, government bodies and construction companies agree jointly with this agreement that says that we will grow the number of people of color and women in the construction trades. This framework creates and sustains a diverse construction workforce, offering high-level guidance to public owners. That refers to government organizations like us. I'm reading from a sample one. Committed to fostering the diverse workforce needed to meet projected construction demand. One of the framework's core recommendations is that we advance the goals of equity inclusion in the construction industry. In particular, we as a public owner have a unique role in the construction industry to ensure that public dollars spent benefit the community that they serve and do not indirectly or passively perpetuate discrimination against or historical under-inclusion of minorities and women and low-income people in the construction industry. We also have an interest in promoting the use of local vendors, suppliers, contractors, subcontractors, and encouraging the hiring of local area workforce, which returns long-term community benefits. And a school district in particular, because of our high interest in and work in the CTE area, to be able to hire graduates, especially from our Menlo Park construction CTE program. What a great opportunity for our students and our graduating students to be able to participate. So I'd like to see if we're able to engage Penn's Construction in a regional equity workforce agreement. I understand we're a little bit late. I'm coming to this a little bit late in the process, being a new school board member. And, I'd like to have that conversation, and for, a very unfortunate reason, I know Carl isn't here tonight, but I'll let you interrupt. I still have another comment.
I would just say, I just want to, point of order, I guess I would say, if I'm using that correctly, point of order that's outside of our role. So here in Beaverton School District, we have the Bond Accountability Committee that we have made a MOU with that helps us through that process. So we have a board member on there, there's people on there, and as part of that MOU, we actually ask for some of the things that you're saying. We ask that before we go for an RFP, that the facility design renovation will ensure that our school environment are comfortable, safe, secure, seismically sound. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 things. So are aligned with national trends and research, best teaching and learning practices, allow implementation of technology innovation, foster whole child development, allow students to engage in allow flexibility, include efficiency, sustainability that feature reduced energy use. I'm trying to get to the one I'm trying to point out. Can you help me, Mike? There's a section in here in this MOU that actually looks at what we're...
Director Carpenter, if I could just respond. Our facility manager and I had a conversation. He saw your question as listed this afternoon. We had a brief conversation about it. And to his knowledge, he didn't know whether or not Pence would actually use the specific agreement you mentioned. But he did draw my attention to and said if I got a chance, I could share that tonight. Goal 3 in the Beaverton Capital Construction Bond Program goals that the board adopted back in June deals with equity and inclusionary practices in procuring and subcontracting, deals with it there, specifically mentions CTE as a sub-bullet of that. So there are some provisions, but our facility manager didn't know if they were using that specific agreement, if that makes sense.
That's perfectly fine. And so
by calling a point of order, I think that it's, in my understanding, help me if I'm not following procedure, that means that we're out of our lane on that one. Is that correct? Is that what we're seeing? So instead of going on with this particular conversation in this space, you and I can maybe talk about it and discuss it further. That would be would I make a motion, or how does that work?
There's a
motion on the table, it's been seconded, there is discussion. When discussion is done, call the question and for a vote.
Okay.
I haven't heard a motion.
So, is there a motion to amend the initial motion? So,
The motion's on the table from Susan Greenberg.
the motion on the table right now is I move to approve the public contract authorization for construction manager, general contractor services for the Valley Hills Elementary School replacement. And we had a second on that motion. We're having discussion. So then the question is, do we have a motion to,
No, you
Go for
vote on the
vote?
motion. You vote on that motion.
do we
You
vote?
vote on the motion.
Can I ask a clarifying question on that?
Yes.
Since you put a discussion question on the table, can we ask a follow-up question?
If there's still discussion, I guess, we can have discussion. If you have a question,
Yeah, so
turn your mic on.
I appreciate your question. And since we have that in the MOU, we cannot tell them what to do, but we can ask whether it is being followed or not, correct?
My understanding is if it's in our the things that are in our MOU, which is number 3, I was reading number 1, sorry. But you named number 3 in our MOU. Your question is, can we?
We are not telling them what to do or how to do, but we can ask in a contract, which is such huge contract, whether it is being followed, whether our CTE students are being, we can ask that, right?
I think that, to me, that would be a weed in the sense of we have a bond accountability committee that goes through this, and when they look at the RFPs, they have to address these questions. So maybe a question would be, with what I'm hearing Sunita say, is there a way to know if they're following number 3 on our MOU?
As I understand it, it's in the contract and set, as stated in the goal in number 3. That's a
Yes.
part of the PENS agreement.
So we should assume that they already did that?
That they will work towards whatever those goals are, right? Like if it calls out a percentage, or if it calls out a certain number of times, or that kind of thing, that we've included that in our expectations of PENS.
Okay.
So maybe,
Point of order. We're being asked to vote on a contract tonight, and I haven't heard from the Bond Accountability Committee an answer to this question. So I'm wondering, you're telling me it's out of our lane, that it's in the Bond Accountability Committee arena, but I haven't heard from them to know that, to answer this question specifically, or and maybe potentially they could answer the question as to whether we could have requests that all of the Pence's subcontractors are training agents, again, furthering our mission as educators. So I appreciate that you said that I'm out of order. And I'm trying to understand how I'm being asked to vote on a $55 million contract, but don't have enough information to know that we're making the right decision. So it feels a little bit uncomfortable to me to not kind of know these answers and also to be told I'm out of order, but also not be given the information to make the decision.
so number 3 on our contract, so when the contract they signed, it says equity opportunities in public purchasing and contracting. So A on that is business equity, a project goal of 15% of the contract value of consulting services and construction contracts will be made to firms certified by either state, Oregon Certification Office Business Inclusion Diversity, COVID, I can't remember, it has to do like women-owned, BIPOC-owned companies. We've asked that to be part of the contract. The Small Business Administration or national suppliers of minority suppliers, developers, councils, I don't know all the acronyms right now. As minority-owned, women-owned, service-disabled, veterans-owned, emerging small business or social or economically disadvantaged small businesses. And then B, diverse workforce development. It's important to provide employment, apprenticeship opportunities in the construction trades, employment people of color, and women for any bond program publicly improvement contracts of over $200,000, an aggregate of goal of like 10% of the labor force hours performed by state registered apprentice, gosh, my eyesight, is established apprenticeship trades. These contracts also will require the contractor to participate in outreach and other efforts to create an apprenticeship program that reflects the diversity of the Beaverton, Portland metropolitan area. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's something that I guess you wouldn't know. The past board voted and we amended these to say what you're actually saying, is probably what I should say. And so the MOU that we have, that we ask the bond accountability, when you approve something, please make sure that these things are present. So we have people from the community that sit on this bond accountability committee, and then they look over the contracts. And then our team, we have a whole team and lawyers and things that look over the contracts. So that's where I would say it's not, if we wanted to add, once you read this and you have time, if we wanted to add something next year when we look at this, that might be the right time.
Point of information. This isn't, school board meeting isn't the time to hash this out, and I totally respect that. And I think that what all of us endeavor to do is to come to the board meeting very prepared, and we've all spent, time preparing. And I'm wondering going forward, I was able to submit this question Sunday evening. And I think that if I'd had an opportunity to read what you've just read to us, I might have said, oh my goodness, that looks great. And we could have avoided all this. So I wonder if there's an ability to get, answers like that in our hands ahead of time so that I could have said, oh, that looks great, or I still want to have this conversation because X, Y, and Z. And so I don't know, this is a new process for us, I think. I mean, it's my first board meeting, but it might be new for us to be able to ask those questions and be answered ahead of time. So I would look forward to doing that and not necessarily having to, drag us all along. But it sort of sounds like that might be, hitting the mark. I'm not sure, how we can revisit this. But I do feel comfortable that you guys have done due diligence and that this is a contract that is ready to, be approved tonight. And if it is all right, I'd like to move to end discussion.
And I just want to clarify one piece. There are bond program goals established by the board, by us, that the BAC monitors.
Okay.
So that's where those things that I was reading were what we asked the Bond Accountability Committee to monitor. And they meet September 20th is the first one, Bond Accountability Committee, and one of us sits on that as well. There's no MOU. So I misspoke on that one. So I hear a motion. I know Ghana had raised, you good?
I was going to ask if we can vote on this some other time, but since Tammy thinks her questions have been answered, then we might proceed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to take a vote on? Motion's on table. Can we take a vote then? Okay. So all in favor of approving the public contract authorization for construction manager, general contract services for Rally Hills Elementary School replacement, GMP amendment, raise your hand and say yes. And if you're in favor? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Want to note that that was a unanimous yes on that one. And our next piece is, let's see, we did the budget committee member selection process. So we're going to have Mike, that's why you're up here, talk to us about the budget committee member selection process.
Thank you, Chair Perez. I appreciate the opportunity tonight. We have 2 open budget committee positions that will be open this year. That's in zones 1 and 2. And their terms are expiring this year. They're expired June 30th, 2023. What you have in your board packet is kind of a rundown of what this board has done in the past in terms of making those appointments. So I'll hit a few of the bullet points here, but applications are accepted within a time range. We would open them up in September after you take action in your next meeting, once you've approved the process. We would end that in November so that you could have time to vote on it in December, and we get those budget committee members in place prior to the real heavy lifting of the budget season. So that's kind of the timing that we would look at. We'd use our standard issue media channels, and always your board is you as a board willingness to reach out to folks that you can get to volunteer or voluntold to help you out on the budget committee. Talks about how candidates submit a letter of interest and resume. And the process we've used here is the board member from each zone with an open position will review the applications in that zone and make a recommendation to the full board at a meeting for approval. And again, we would get those done by November 27th as a cutoff period, and that we'd come to you on December 12th to take action to get those 2 new budget committee members placed. So no action tonight. Hopefully I've described the process adequately, and we can have any discussion, or I'll take any questions you might have.
I'll say one thing and then I'll hand over to Justice. Did you have something too? Anybody? Okay. Just a point of clarification. I was thinking back when I was first on the board and I was like, tell me more about this. So we have a budget accountability so that other places where we're asking, we want to be good stewards of our money. And not only do we have the bond accountability committee, we always have a budget committee that helps us think through the budget. So there's community members on it. And as you were explaining, each one of us has a community member that's connected to us. And so right now, Sunita and I are community members. Their time has come up, but they can run again. Or other people can apply for those positions. So anybody in our community can apply if they're in that zone. Or is it Susan's? Okay, sorry, Susan's and mine are up. So
That's correct, though. That's
is
correct.
that correct? Okay, thank you. I'll pass over to Justice.
Oh, thank you. My question was just, where is the information for community members if they want to apply? Because we're discussing it, but I don't see a link. So I just want to
So
make sure
what
we
we'll
say
do
that.
is, we'll thank you for that question, Director Raji. We'll publish it through their normal channels. We really rely on Shelley to get the information out through all of our social media channels, put it on our website. And there'll be a link where people can go where there's a kind of a cursory application piece and then a letter of interest and a resume that gets attached to that as well. And then you get those sent back, so it'd go to Dr. Perez and Director Greenberg to take a look at and meet with, discuss, have a conversation with those candidates, and they'd bring their names forward at a future meeting. Thank you for that question.
Sorry, go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you. Hey, who is my budget committee person? Do I interface with them? What is that relationship like?
Yeah, so from my perspective, we have, all of us will be, there's different committees, and we'll talk about that. Actually, that's my next little speech. But in September, we'll come together and talk about this piece. But for the budget committee, we're all on it. And so we'll have several meetings, like 4 meetings?
Yeah, we'll have probably 4 meetings, including just an informational session. And yeah, we'll get you the name and the contact information of the person that's from your zone. It is a like member committee, so it'll have 7 board members and 7 community members, 1 from each of your zones. And
And I
typically, the folks talk, and you'll have a board member who will help a budget committee member. You might get some help from your budget committee member as you go into budget this year.
And I guess I would ask for some clarification on how do we interact with them? I guess in or do you want to?
Go ahead.
In my experience, we will have meetings when we come together, all of us, and we'll have time, like we sit next to our budget person and we can have discussion. We usually share a meal. And so and that's kind of like our interaction with our budget person. It's not like we're going to call them up and just hang out with them over the weekend or something. It's more of like they're a community member that we will work with during those meetings that will support us and be asking us questions and help us think through, like, from our zone areas kind of questions. Any other, Susan, you've experienced, do you want to share anything?
Anything in terms of like budget?
Or interaction with your committee members, just for new board members?
Already I've forgotten how to use that mic, it's only been a few minutes, but no, I mean, that's pretty much it in terms of every once in a while, your budget committee person who might be new might give you a call to ask some questions. But other than that, there's not much outside of the budget committee itself where we're interacting together.
Thank you for sharing your expertise. Any other questions? No. So I just wanted to let you know that one of the things that we'll be discussing in September is actually all the different board committees that we can be on. So, and appointments, they're actually appointments. There will be a link in the weekly memo that will give you the information about the committees, like when they meet, what are they, And then to ask, and then in that case, I'm the one that will appoint you to a committee. That's my responsibility as a chair. So I'll ask you to please share what you're interested in to me. So we'll get something to you where you can like review the information first. You can ask me questions. We can't have serial meetings, so I won't be sharing anybody, oh, this person's interested in that. But it's more about answering your questions about those committees and kind of what our role might be. And then I'll ask you to get me that information. We'll explain it in the memo. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Some are, like the budget one, we're all on it. We're all going to have those meetings together. There's others like the Bond Accountability Committee that our document says that one of us will be on that one. There's also like the Budget Committee where Sunita and, Susan, no wait, the Audit Committee where Sunita is on it and Eric was on it. Her term isn't up, but if she wants to be on something else and not on that one, that might open up. And so it'll be, I just want to learn. I want you to see the information first and have a little time to sit with it and then ask me questions, and then we can, you'll be able to decide, like, give me some options. What's your top 3 or 4 or something? What would you be interested in? We've noted, we'll note like what days they meet and like how many hours is that? Because we know that, and you don't have to be on one. First, you know, that's another thing, because a lot of us have work and other things, but that if you're interested, that would be something. So just wanted to let you know that. Okay. We'll move into now the kind of like a closing, any comments. So we have any board communications. So this is a time when you can share any thoughts that you'd like to share before we close our meeting. So just a couple minutes, and you can pass as well. Is there anybody that has any board communications? So Susan, everybody, or? Okay, so we'll go down, maybe go down this line.
So mine's just pretty quick, to just congratulate the new board members to our school board. Very excited to work with you all, and it's going to be a good year. So there you go.
I too just wanted to express gratitude for everybody coming together, our first board meeting in person together as a new team, and the staff to be able to make it happen. And I got to visit Tumwater, which is one of my middle schools, and just grateful for the staff to kind of give a trial run on what a school visit might look like. And we know how much time that can take, and I just want to show gratitude that we're grateful for the opportunity to connect with our schools and everyone, so thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to all the new board members. Looking forward to working with all of you. I'm thankful to Congresswoman Susan Bonamici for a roundtable that she did and invited all the board members for the fentanyl awareness and the fake pill. And I'm really, I'm proud of what BSD is doing to help and making this message forward to parents. So if there is any parent who's watching this, I would really recommend them, is that tape on the, they can watch the video for the fake pills, because it's very, very important information. Even if your kid is not experimenting, but just to understand what's going on. It's a very big problem in our community right now, so it was a very good thing for me. I learned a lot. And the other thing was, I want to thank Dr. Balderas for his coffee chats. I had a opportunity to visit Conestoga Rec Center, where he met with the community members, and it was nice to see parents there asking questions. And there are a lot of coffee chats that are going to be coming up. So if there is a parent who has a question and want to talk to the superintendent, that's a very good opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Ugana, and then.
Yeah, I was just happy to hear the school update. The one word that was resounding tonight was joy, and I'm so happy that We've started the new school year. We're off to a good start. I was a bit apprehensive, given that this is the first time our students would be returning to school, not a day after Labor Day. But it sounds as though that it has been going on seamlessly, and I'm happy to hear that, and I look forward to a successful school year. And again, congratulations to Melissa, Justice, and Tammy. Welcome to the board, and look forward to working with the three of you. Thank you.
Well, I just would say thank you, everyone, for our first board meeting in person, not our first, or I guess second meeting. That's a board meeting. So happy to be here and grateful for the opportunity, and also to all the kids that are back at school this week. Congratulations. It's excitement. Enjoy.
Oh, that's terrible. Is that a little bit better? So I was just gonna, if you'll indulge me, this article was meaningful to me, and you guys may have seen this in your work over the years and the many decades you've been devoted to this, but Bettina Love describes her research around the educational experiences of students of color, and there's a word that consumes the field of education, gap. Each research article describes some type of disparity between Black and white students, resulting in an achievement gap, a learning gap, an income gap, a funding gap. And report after report never seemed to explain why white students were outperforming Black and brown students, but using the word gap somehow justified the separation. The word was ever present yet nebulous. And over the years, she learned that the word obscures the harm of racism and anti-Blackness, which are the root causes of the so-called gap. To use gap implies that white students, quote, outperforming Black students on standardized tests just somehow happened, or is the failure of Black children or their families themselves. Invoking the word gap when discussing racial inequality in our education system makes racism illegible. Calling this nation's failure to adequately and equitably fund Black students' education a, quote, funding gap removes the intent of white supremacy to remain in power by underfunding students of color. So, you know, I guess as I'm sitting with that word and wondering, you know, does this word still suit us and our work on the school board? Does it obscure or highlight the work we must do? So much important equity work has been done by previous boards, and you know, can we, as we build on those efforts, do we need to reframe how we look at this? So I just wanted to share that little insight that I found in that article, and it meant a lot to me, and I want to see if it fits in how I want to think about the equity work that we all are, you know, endeavoring to do. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
I want to thank our staff for getting our schools ready. The endless hours the principals share, you know, and principals and our custodians and our teachers preparing their classrooms and our families, you know, getting up early and trying to get our kids out the door and our bus drivers. Just a lot of thanks to a lot of people to make this joy that's happening right now in our schools. I wanted to thank, you know, Christy from our OSCA talked about just that positive experience of collaboration and support. And then the PD days are in that contract that has added benefit to our students and experience and also to our staff experience. Thank you to Lindsay. We were able to meet finally a couple, like last week, I think it was. So excited to be working with BEA as well. The new staff academy occurred. So all our new staff get to come like for several days to learn about our curriculum. So they don't just go into the classroom not knowing anything. Like good luck. It's actually, there was that time where they actually got to learn together. We know that we're looking at the high school start times so that we know that we have early start times. We have a bill that came through and we had caused us to even shift. So I'm getting up at my kid at, right now at 5:45 to get her to school like, in time. And I have to get her there by 7:15, so that she can be in school. So it's impacting our family as well. We know that's happening and that we're working to address that. So by next year, we have that goal. Thank you to our new board members for leaning into these conversations, and we're learning together these, Robert's rules, like, which rule is that? And, being respectful in those conversations, because we know that everybody's putting kids first. All of you are trying to put kids first, and we're learning and norming together, which is something that I'm really excited about, because some different changes that we put in is like these work sessions before our board meetings, so that we can ask all your questions, and we know that we have new board members, and it's healthy for us to have those discussions in public so that people know, we're learning too. We don't know all this stuff, and even us that are educators, I'm learning right alongside you. So thank you for leaning into those conversations and being willing to. I know it's a little messy, and but we'll get there, and that's healthy. To me, that's healthy that we can have those conversations. So thanks to our staff for staying late. And with that, any thoughts? Yeah.
Just thank you, and thanks for the staff, and thank you for the folks that are online, and looking forward to the work ahead. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to lead.
And with no other agenda items, the August 29th business meeting of the Beaverton School Board adjourns at 8:55.